What is up, everybody? Welcome to our very first actual live show. You can actually see our faces today. You
Yeah,
got the doc.
got the Wild Bill.
Hey, got not King James this week, just regular old James.
Are you going to change it up like every week? I mean, like, so how am I supposed to keep on top of things here?
Well, since we're going more official this go around, it just might just stay James for the time
But
being.
then I can't call you Your Highness.
But I tell you one thing that won't change is the good old Jack and Coke.
Well, okay. I,
Anyway, I,
my water. Thanks, water. Yeah,
nice.
water.
All right. Well, welcome to season 2, episode 1.
Yay!
Inglorious video.
All our, all our, uh, all our faces for radio are now on video. So,
Yes, and I'll.
I am so sorry
We'll
for
figure
those
it
out
out.
there. I'm so sorry to all you out there that have to put up with with this mug anyway. So I mean, I can't speak to the others. Um,
We're gonna be
but
banned here shortly.
well,
More than likely. All right.
yeah. What
So
can I say?
we're back with the video. I'm in my office still working on the backdrop on this one.
Yeah, I gotta wait for payday for a backdrop. I think I've got a backdrop in mind for me. So
Yeah,
I got
my backdrop is downstairs.
and see, and I'm in my office. I even got the banner up and all that.
I still got to put
well,
my banner up.
aren't you just special?
More than you know.
All right. So today's topic
Sorry.
is the Flathead Lake Monster from Flathead Lake, located over by Missoula, Montana. It is a wonderful, beautiful, happy area. Um, I had the pleasure of living over there for a while, and that is where I
See,
actually go ahead.
you were actually near Flathead when you lived in Montana. You were actually near Flathead.
Yes, I was like 90 miles north of it,
Oh, okay, cool.
but we always went into Kalispell, which is like 8 miles north of Flathead, and we would go down to Flathead because Missoula, and they had a nice, wonderful little beer called Flathead Lake. Flathead Lake Monster beer. I don't remember if it was an IPA or whatever, whatnot. It's been forever since I actually had one, but yeah.
Do they have a root beer?
I believe they do actually have a root beer.
Like a draft style root beer? I'm gonna have to go to this place and check it out just for the root beer.
Well, I lived there in 91.
So it's grown. I'm sure it's grown since then.
Well, I'm sure it has, but I don't know if the brewery is still there. I know that I think it's Widmer makes a Flathead Lake Monster IPA. It's all right. But we're talking about Flathead Lake Monster, and that is actually where I actually got to see something at that time. I don't want to say it was a monster, but it was something weird. It was kind of on the surface. At that moment, I was not into the paranormal cryptids as much as I am now. So at that point, I got to look at that and say, okay, that was a possibility.
It was anomalous.
It was something. It wasn't a log.
Yeah.
So I know that much. It was not a log. It came up to the surface. It bobbed around. Then it went away, and then it never came back up. So it was definitely not log-ish. But I had our research investigative person write up a bit of a thing. So we can go over the history and everything, and then we can discuss it on possibilities. So the name kind of it changes on who mentions it. It's a Flossie. It's also like they call it the America's Nessie, even though there's like 6, 7 different lake monsters in America are Flessie. It was first officially sighted in 1889 aboard a pleasure craft by a man named Kerr. I don't have the first name. There have been over 100 additional sightings in the 135-year history. The most recent one was 2017. There are a lot of unconfirmed and undocumented sightings, not on the official record. The record is actually stored at a museum in Polson, Montana. So there is actually a Flathead Lake Monster Museum in Polson, Montana. There have been different sources of what it could be. Some people have said it is a sturgeon. Could be because Flathead Lake is close to the Snake River, where the sturgeon get like massive, like
Right.
huge.
How long did they say this Flathead Lake Monster is?
Description is 20 to 40 feet long, dark in color, steel black eyes, whale-like or eel-shaped. So it's not really a like a mosasaur or the plesiosaurus. It's got a long neck, 4 flippers, small head, pointy snout like a snake, and it undulates through the water.
Well, that's not a sturgeon either.
Yeah.
I mean, a sturgeon is, like, there's no mistaking a sturgeon. Like, it almost looks like, they almost look like prehistoric sharks.
Right, but the length of them could get up there into around 20-foot range.
Has a sturgeon really got that big?
The ones in the Snake River are, God, I think I remember seeing some about it being like 20 feet long. Because they're just.
I know the sturgeon in the Columbia and Willamette can get up to about 7 feet. Somewhere's up to 9 feet, but like for harvesting purposes, you're only allowed to harvest a sturgeon that is like, I want to say between 5 and 7 feet, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Something like that. So it's like, but then again, I have seen, catfish down in South America that are as big as a human being, as tall, as wide. I mean, like, there are people out there that they catch these things by chumming them with their fists and let them biting on their fists, and then they'll pull the whole thing up there. And I mean, these things are just massive.
Yeah.
So it's hard to fathom a freshwater fish that's 20 feet long. But I mean, I suppose if it was lucky enough to have never got caught by a predator, then who knows how big they can get.
I know
they can get as big as their environment. I mean, and you look at goldfish for that, right? The bigger the fish tank, the bigger the goldfish is going to get. So it stands to reason that fish in general, I mean, they get as big as their environment will allow them to. Sorry, go ahead, James.
Growing up as a kid, fishing with my uncle, he had caught multiple sturgeons, and some of them were up into that 12 to 15-foot range. And then he had to obviously let them go, and those were on the Columbia, I do believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
yeah. So I mean, like,
anything's possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the Flathead Lake it's very deep. It's very ancient. I mean,
How deep is it?
Let me see if my person put that on.
I don't see it over. Sorry, I'm just kind of curious.
She didn't put it on the paper, but I know Flathead Lake is like, it's not the deepest lake, but it's very deep.
Is it as big and deep as, like, say, Crater Lake?
It's bigger than Crater Lake.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I wouldn't say it's as deep as Crater Lake, but I know it's got some depth to it. It's kind of the same as like Lake Pandoriel in Idaho. It's very long, very deep. It's just when the glaciers carved it out and filled it up. how there's a lake monster. I mean, we can discuss that after a bit. I mean, we'll discuss the possibilities versus the realities towards the end here.
Right.
All right. So first official sighting was 1889 by James C. Kerr on a sailboat converted steamship on the northern part of the Flathead River. 100 people on board also saw the creature. So I mean, you've got a lot of people already, 100 plus people that have already seen this thing in the water, and they've gone on record. Yeah, we saw this thing.
Okay. It's pretty hard to dispute, 100 different accounts that say the same thing.
Yeah, now that's
verifiable.
That's verifiable. We got 100 plus that have actually seen this thing.
Yeah.
Hang on, I'm actually getting. Flathead Lake is 370 feet on a quick search at the deepest. So 370 feet is the deepest.
Okay.
Great.
Crater Lake is deeper at 500 something.
Gotcha.
Something like that.
Yeah, our research.
The research guru.
Yeah, they're sending me all the facts and figures and messages as we go. All right. So we're going to go back to James C. Carr. Saw what he thought was a log up ahead of the boat, but as he drew near, everybody aboard saw what they described as a whale-like creature swimming along the surface. One terrified passenger pulled out his rifle and took a shot at the thing, but it plunged back underwater. Of course, I mean, here's a little funny thing that we can put onto the look around pile later. The steamship had been recently outfitted with a full liquor bar.
They were all drunk.
So when we get into the yeses and the nos on if we buy it, there you go, Bill. You can use that in the yes or no reality.
There you go.
Because we're going to start doing that. We'll discuss the matter. We'll go through it. And then at the end, we'll say, we'll give it a yes. This is possible. No. And then we'll just tally it. Yeah. All right. So the last recorded sighting was 2017 by Cindy Johnson. It was over in Polson, Montana. And she was in her house. Lost track of her 3-year-old son. She ran down the shoreline, found the tot soaking wet, standing on the edge of the lake. He had fallen into the water, and his horrified mother asked how he got on the shore, and the boy said, "The flathead monster lifted me up." So there's that. That was 2017, so it's fairly current on being on record. Modern day sightings, not from a 3-year-old. 2005, a group of tourists reported seeing a large creature swimming in the lake. They described it as being around 30 feet long with a snake-like body and a head that resembled that of a horse. In 2010, a local fisherman claimed to have caught a glimpse of the monster while out on the lake. He described it as being around 20 feet long and having a dark, scaly body. Once I figure out how to do pictures during this, I could put up the sightings map. It's very much heavily located in the southern part of the lake, which ironically, now Flathead Lake is a lot of big houses, big mansions on the lakeside because it's a lake. And all the rich people got to have their little areas. All the heavy sightings are actually down in the touristy area. So, I mean, like a lot of people probably wouldn't be divulging that information of what they're seeing outside their house because of property values. I mean, these houses go for $1 million easy.
Easy.
Because I mean, you're on the lake. It's a beautiful
lake.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's like Bill Gates. He had a lakeside home on Lake Washington, And I remember when that house was being built because I was learning how to water ski in front of the house while it was being built. And when I saw it in a article in a magazine years later, I was like, "Hey, I recognize that area. I remember that house being built." Well, I was, wiping out water skiing in front of Bill Gates' house on Lake Washington.
All right.
Kind of looking at the map, where all those sightings are. They
Right.
got the sightings for creatures and fish. The fish are under 10 feet. How do they know it's under 10 feet? Or even those creatures even over 10 feet? I mean, there's really no size comparison.
Yeah, I'm not sure on
Are they
that.
just guessing? I mean,
I think
Yeah.
are they
just
guessing what they think is 10 feet?
Right.
it could be a guess. I mean, we can put that in the debunk pile.
That's like, when a fisherman says, "Hey, I caught this fish. It was this big," and really it was like this big. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right. So of course there is. It's you had a couple tribes that lived in that area. You had the Kootenai, the Blackfoot, and the Blood tribes. The Kootenai, I'm probably saying that one wrong. Their legend is that the monster lives in Monster Lake, which is Flathead Lake, and sometimes fed huckleberries by a bird. The bird's husband was jealous and killed the lake monster, which lies in rest at modern day Sullivan Hill. There's a lot of other. I mean, they're talking about how it was there. They do offerings across the lake. Trying to get just the good stuff here. I mean,
Get to the meat. Get to the meat and potatoes.
Well, the
and
thing
leave the
is,
gravy beside.
Like a lot of creator stories or creature stories. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to it. One winter across the frozen lake to move the camp, two girls saw antlers, approximately 2 feet in length, protruding through the frozen ice. Thinking the antlers belonged to some animal, the girls decided to chop them off and take them. They used sharp edge rods to cut. Could have been. Cut through the ice. When the antlers stopped shaking, the ice around them split open, and the head of a monster appeared through the ice, shaking its giant antlers. Girls use their special powers to transform into a ball and a buckskin target to escape the monster, but half the tribe drowned in the lake. So I mean, that's just one of their little myths. So
Sounds
I mean,
like a big ass moose to me.
Possibly, unless it was like elk antlers.
Well, again, so antlers and earlier it said that this creature has the what did it say, like the face of a horse? Well, I mean, that's kind of a moose. Moose's head is very equine like.
Small head, pointy snout like a snake.
But I thought you said it had the face of like a horse.
No, like a snake.
He said snake.
Yeah, well.
Drinking that bottle of water too much.
Well,
I need some more.
So I mean, we've got descriptions of it being 20 to 40 feet long, whale-like, or eel-shaped. So I mean, we have two different reports that it's whale-like, long neck, 4 flippers. I mean, that's kind of a plesiosaur.
Mm-hmm. Like Nessie.
Like Nessie.
Right.
I mean, that
wasn't the creature in Lake Champlain, wasn't that also supposedly like Nessie as well?
Yeah. And the Flawed was like Nessie. I think there's only one that's been described as no long neck and shorter, and I think that's over in Minnesota. I think it was. It's a little bit further back east. It was just a real short guy, four flippers, no neck. But this guy here seems to fit with the basic Nessie model, long neck, snake-like head. Reports suggest no ill actions and that the creature is docile. Now, Flathead Lake, it has a lot of boaters every year. That's the big thing, is boating.
Right.
I assume water skiing,
Boarding, kayaking,
okay.
fishing. I mean, it's kind of the summer tourist draw because Montana, you either have winter or you got a little bit of summer.
Right.
So you've got your national parks, you've got the lake, and in wintertime, you've got Big Mountain, you've got
10-foot snowdrifts.
that's on a good year that it's light.
Yeah.
When I lived there, it was 20-foot snowdrifts.
Yeah, remember back in 2007 when we had the 10 inches of snow, and a friend of mine who lives in Minnesota, he's like, 10 inches, we call that a dusting. When you've had 10 feet, then come talk to me.
Yeah, I know Montana was still getting snow at the beginning of the month.
Yeah.
Because it's Montana. Weather does not apply to Montana. When I lived there, we went into town, and one half of the Taco Bell parking lot was snowing, and the other half was sunny.
Wow. Well, I know, like in the high Rockies, there, like in 2003 when I was in Flagstaff. I mean, I just blindly assumed. I mean, here's my. I'm so naive about the climate down in Arizona. I just thought it was always desert and always perpetually hot. Well, Flagstaff is a little further north, and it's on the bottom end of the Rockies, and it's high country there. So in June, they were having snow that was still melting off, and I was like, I was cold. I mean, I thought it was supposed to be hot here, and they're like, and one of the locals looked at me and said, "This isn't Phoenix. This isn't Tucson. This is Flagstaff. We're in high country here. We actually do get winter here." I'm like, sorry.
Yeah, I made the same mistake. My boss that I used to work with was from Arizona, and he'd go down every single year, and he'd come back and show me pictures. I'm like, mountains? You have mountains in Arizona? I thought that was just the space of the sun, flat. He goes, no, it's the northern part. They got mountains. I'm like, well, see, I can live there.
Yeah, Flagstaff's nice. It's a beautiful city. It was really nice. I liked it there.
Anyway, back to the topic.
Back to the topic at hand.
A little bit of chaos.
Flathead Lake Monster.
Flathead Lake Monster, as I said, across the bottom of the screen.
That's where I read it from.
Yeah. That was guidance because we were just, I mean, it is weird us being on camera. And I know we got
James is he's surprisingly behaving himself.
Well, see, here's where we're going to start going in a different direction. Normally it's just us talking. So I've given you all the backstory to it. And then I know, Bill, you're going to be the debunker.
Well, I mean,
so save it. We're going to let James go.
Sure. Okay.
Camera's backwards. Okay. We'll let James have the floor, and he can give his impressions, his thoughts, his feelings on the situation.
Too many people drinking. I mean, so there's so many sightings over 100+ years. I really honestly don't think. I just think people are hallucinating, in my opinion. I just don't see how in that lake, in that area, that I don't know. I mean, not sturgeon, obviously. Eel. I can imagine an eel type creature being that long. I mean,
yeah,
I would find that difficult to believe. And to try to come up with a description of the so-called Flathead Lake Monster to resemble any of that, I just think it's bogus. I think maybe seeing that map where most of those sightings are occurring, if you're saying that's in the touristy part of the region there, I just think way too many people are drinking, getting on the boats, having a good time. I don't see it. I just
Yeah.
can't. And
I mean,
right. Hang on, Bill. So, James, would you give that a thumbs up? Let's do it in two-parter. Real, fake, good touristy attraction, poorly done touristy attraction. We'll do it. We'll do it two-fer.
Well, we'll keep it both down. How's that? That's my impression. I mean,
well, I know they do have a lot of. They have a museum. They have a lot of good stuff.
I mean, from what I can try and find, I haven't been able to find much more than what information you've sent me and what I've been trying to look up. So
All right,
I mean,
so double.
It's a double. I mean, if there was more legitimate, there'd be more information or more something out there than what they got, and especially being over such a long period of time.
Well, all right, Bill.
Double down.
I got a double.
Okay.
The floor is yours.
I'm not one to call out mass hysteria, but could this be a case of mass hysteria? Possibly. Could I don't know if you got that same message, but I just got the same message. I got a message from our researcher, and it's real. It's real. So hold the phone there. So, I mean, I don't want to be quick to judge that it's mass hysteria. However, there are a few holes in this story for me to want to give it a thumbs up. That it, you made mention that there was libations involved, and I'm kind of siding with James on this one. It's like if it might not have been mass hysteria, but if partying's going on and people are drinking and having a good time, and like perceptions are skewed, and it's hard for me to, based on what I'm hearing. I mean, those first initial reports of the 100 people, for one, I mean, we can't interview them, so we only have their report. But at the same time, wasn't it also reported that they had all been, were they drinking on that ship?
The report is that the ship had been fitted with a liquor bar.
Okay, so again, I'm wondering. Okay, so like, playing devil's advocate here, I'm wondering if liquor was consumed. They thought they saw something. They weren't sure, but because all of them collectively saw it, they all said, "Yeah, I saw this too," and it became a mass report, right? So the fact that, like, you have some descriptions of it looking like one thing, and then the two girls, for instance, saying, "Oh, these antlers, blah blah blah." Well, I think that's probably a moose.
Right, but that was also a creation myth. That was a creation story.
Oh, okay.
Because they actually they use their powers to change into other things to get away.
Yeah, I'm skeptical of that too. For me, I think that this is there at best. There's not enough data to support that it's a legitimate thing. At best, the reports that we have are slightly skewed due to a potential of um, whether it's mass hallucination or it's just inebriation. So I'm kind of with James on this one, and
double down tourism and reality.
Well, okay, so the thing is, like, with the tourism thing, I mean, like, that could go either way. It all depends on whether they want to go full bore and like embrace the myth and use that as a tourist attraction. Well, that could be a double-edged. that could be a double-edged sword because, like, if you're saying, "Hey, we've got a monster in this lake," you think kayakers are going to want to go into a lake where there's potentially a monster? I mean,
No.
no. When I say no again, and as far as the report with the little boy, it's like you take that with a grain of salt because kids have overactive imaginations to begin with,
Yeah.
and it's not wanting to call the little boy a liar, not calling the mother a liar, but at the same time, it's one of those things where it's like, hardly verifiable in my
All right,
honest
so
opinion.
you got a double.
I got a double.
You got a double. All right. So here's my rebuttal. Since I've been there, maybe what we could do is we need to take a trip to Polson, Montana, the three of us.
Sure.
That way we can check out the museum, we can check out the town, we can check out the touristy things, so that maybe we can take that double and at least bring one of them up.
And maybe go take
It would have to be a lot to bring it, at least one of those up for me.
Well, I mean, we don't have. I mean, the only way I'm going to get a double up from you guys is if we go there and we're like looking at the museum and we go walk outside and it's like, bro, hi guys, what's going on, bro?
I mean, I would suggest we pull a crocodile Dundee here, but I mean, I'm sure Johnny Law wouldn't appreciate us, like dropping a big ass explosive in there and see if we can't, like bring it to the surface.
Well, it's also 300 and some odd feet deep.
Yeah, see, so that's how do you do that?
All right,
Depth charge. That's it. A depth charge. We need to drop a depth charge.
All right, now, like I said, I have actually been to Flathead Lake. I saw something. I'm not saying it's a lake monster. I ain't gonna do I ain't saying it's aliens, but it's aliens. But I saw something I cannot explain.
Please don't be a Giorgio. I may have to slap you.
I don't have the hair for it.
Well, you'd be like the reverse Giorgio. I have to stand up. My foot fell asleep.
All right. So, me having been there, I would say tourism with the museum and how they tout it and how all the towns around the lake themselves actually have monuments and displays that talk about Flessy Nessie, the Flathead Lake Monster. For tourism, I say they're actually trying to capitalize. Unlike Cannon Beach, who has the Bandage Man, and nobody discusses it. In a business sense, if you have a local legend, use it. So the Cannon Beach, they don't use the Bandage Man. They don't want to talk about the Bandage Man. If they were smart, they would just have that everywhere. Oh, yeah, the local legend. And I'm saying legend. I'm not saying it's actually real. I'm saying the local legend, the local myth, the urban legend. If they were to use it, they could probably make a little bit of money off the town and put the town bigger on the map. Now then,
it could be. Well, I mean, but the thing is, like, I guess they are also looking at what kind of clientele they're wanting to attract, right? If you're putting out a legend there that's going to attract nothing but paranormal, jobbers like us, it's one of those things where it's like, maybe in their mind, do we really want that ilk here? Some of them are really whacked out. Some are, perception is everything. I'm not saying that every paranormal researcher is whacked out, but I'm looking at it, the outsider's perspective of, because I'm sure they think we're nuts.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure they think that we're just all wackadoo and whatever. And the reality is that, me being the resident skeptic, I'm, sometimes I jump on their side of the fence and I'm like, yeah, what they said, it just kind of depends on the situation.
Well, so I give it a thumbs up for tourism. Like I said, I've been there. Maybe we need to all go take a road trip some weekends, go to Polson, Montana, drive around the lake a little bit. I can at least get a thumbs up. I can get you guys to change thumbs up on tourism because it is an area of tourism that they actually work with. So they utilize it as opposed to other places that don't utilize. I mean, come on, St. Helens at least utilizes the UFO every Spirit of Halloween Town. They put out the display and the aliens, even though there was no aliens, there was no crashed UFO. They're still using the UFO, the local sighting, as an area.
Well, McMinnville utilize. I mean, every year McMinnville has their UFO parade, their UFO festival, and they're heavily capitalizing on it. Was their own Roswell. Like supposedly they had a very similar situation as Roswell that happened there in McMinnville, and they embrace it. Roswell, New Mexico. I mean, like I've been there, and it's one of those things where it's like it was the funniest thing ever. I'm watching every alien, Christian bookshop, alien. Right?
Right.
I'm not kidding. Like the car dealership they had out there, right? They had a facade of the, on the building itself of a flying saucer crashed into their building. I mean, that was their hook. That was their, and that's huge for Roswell. I mean, Roswell brings in a lot of people, utilizing the whole alien thing as a tourist trap. So
Roswell.
You're right. Flathead could, Flathead is probably, thinking this is going to be a good tourist hook. Okay,
right.
I could see that.
For the rebuttal on the kayakers, people do kayak on the lake. People boat on the lake. People swim in the lake. So a lake monster being docile and not harming anybody, the legend.
Look, they probably don't believe that the thing exists, so they're like, yeah, if it doesn't exist, then I'm not in any danger. So I'm going to go swim. I'm going to go kayak. I'm going to go boat. I'm going to do
people go swimming
whatever.
People go swimming in Loch Ness. People go boating in Loch Ness. People go wakeboarding in Loch Ness. You've got a monster, but people still go out and hit the water. If there were more attacks, if it was like, shark feet. What's that?
What's that?
I said, when are monsters all docile? I mean, come on. There's going to be a moment they flip the switch.
Well, when they
want that lake or that.
But maybe that means
they're going to want it. I mean.
Well,
maybe they're like a black bear. Black bears really just want to be left alone by humans. So they would rather run away from a human. But you corner them or you get near their young, they're going to come out swinging. I mean that's kind of how they are. Is like they're they're kind of like
tourism where you want to bring people in for tourism. They're going to want to try and find this thing.
Well, there's that.
I mean, see?
Right. I mean, look, we as a species are a very volatile type, and sometimes we overreact to the things that we don't understand. And I mean, I'm reminded of Harry and the Hendersons. Remember that hunter that all he wanted to do, he just wanted to shoot Harry just so that he could say, "Oh, I bagged a Bigfoot." And there's a lot of people out there that are like that. It's like, well, I just want to kill this thing just so that I can get my name in the papers. It's like playing devil's advocate here again. If this monster really exists, and it's been here for who knows how long, right? It probably has a pretty good read on why it should stay away from human beings, as is basic instinct and basically all manner of animal life.
Best way to do is just to go there and go kayaking. I say we do it. I say we plan a weekend. We go to Flathead Lake. We rent some.
You just want me to go kayak out there on the lake and use me as the sacrificial lamb. I am on to you. I am so on to you. You're just trying to sacrifice me again.
No, it won't be you this time. It'll be me because I don't kayak. So I'll be the sacrificial lamb.
Okay, but if Darren and I are out on the kayaks, I mean, are you going to go out on a kayak?
If I have to, I'll go. I don't care.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll be.
You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
All right. So anyway, as I was saying, I've been there. I think Flathead Lake utilizes the Flathead Lake monster for their own tourism interests. They've got beer, they've got candy, they've got all kinds of wonderful things around the lake itself. It's more of a Montana thing. It's like huckleberries. It's big in Montana. It's not bigger anywhere else. I don't know what it is that I saw that day on the lake, but again, I'm not saying lake monster. I'm just saying it was not a log. It was something that came up out of the water. It went back in the water. It never came back up again. So, do I believe in the lake monster? Well, I've seen too much stuff, and I'm going to say there was something. Like when I say I have seen UFOs, they are unidentified flying objects, unidentified aerial phenomenon. Do I believe in UAPs, UFOs? Yes, because they're unidentified. Never saying they're aliens. I'm just saying I've seen them. So, is there something in Flathead Lake Monster that is different that I cannot explain? Yes. Tourism. I'm giving that a yes because, like I said, I've been there. So we just need to take a road trip, and at least I can get you to turn one up.
That's going to be a long road trip.
It's good, yeah.
It's only about like an 8-9 hour drive, really.
Probably 10.
Okay, if you're talking a weekend, Doc, I mean 8-9 hours. That's a third of a day. Not well, more than a third of a day.
We'll be fine.
Well, yeah, 8 hours is about a third of a day.
Yeah.
So you're only going to get like, 1 day at it.
So then we get airline tickets and we fly over to Missoula. Or you happen to know someone that works for an airline.
Right. I mean, I couldn't possibly imagine that, like he couldn't hook us up or anything.
Right.
I'm just saying, I'm sure he would.
I mean, we just have to go through Seattle. For the Seattle, Missoula.
Okay.
Just saying, we just got to plan it out and make it happen.
I'm okay with, hitting a puddle jumper.
Okay. Actually, they're not puddle jumpers no more. They're full-size regional jets.
Okay. I want to read this. If you get eaten, you won't need to worry about the rest of the weekend. Thanks for that. You're not helping. Thank you.
And on that, we are going to thank everybody for our first live video feed every Sunday, 8 p.m. We'll be on here, and then it'll be on Spotify on Wednesdays as normal. Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Spotify, live here and there and there.
Oh! Before we go, something that a friend of mine who has been listening to our podcast has pointed out that something that we really should be doing and we don't. So I'm going to take the opportunity to do it now. Is like we should be plugging our social media for DBK. So we should be plugging social media for Gaps. We should be plugging social media for our other partners. So I would like to take this opportunity to do that. So you should tell our viewing audience how to find DBK on social media.
Facebook.com/DBK Investigations, all one word, lowercase.
There you go. James, how about Gaps?
Just Guardian Angel Paranormal Society on Facebook. That's pretty much it. Yep.
All right.
Simple.
I know Bill was expecting something a little bit bigger and marching bands coming through.
No. I'm just trying to give us both of us ample opportunity to plug our respective groups, and we might want to throw Wandering Spirits out there too. So look up Wandering Spirits of Oregon, correct? Or no, it's Wandering Spirits of the Pacific Northwest.
Pacific Northwest.
Wandering Spirits of the Pacific Northwest. Look it up on Facebook. That's our friends, the other James and Martina. They're wonderful people. So do look them up as well. Look up DBK on Facebook. Look up Guardian Angel Paranormal on Facebook. So I've done my due diligence to plug our social medias on on Spotify and is this also going to go up on YouTube as well?
It's YouTube, DBK Investigations on Facebook.com, and then Spotify as well.
So yeah,
so we're live on 2 channels now.
Excellent.
And then Spotify on Wednesdays.
So basically, what I'm going to do going forward is I'm going to plug us and our social media going forward because that's probably something we should have been doing all along. I guess maybe.
Bill, you just needed more airtime. Just say it.
Maybe.
And with that, we are leaving for the night. Thank you, everybody. Next time we'll have to have somebody actually watching the feed so we can get comments.
Oh, we were getting comments. That's what I read earlier was a comment that from someone who's watching us right now.
Yeah, but
Thanks,
I'm talking the general pages. But anyway, we're at 46 minutes. Peace out, everybody. This is the Doc.
Well, Bill.
And James.
And we will see everybody next week.